This isn't really a horror story from my point of view, but it probably is from the person in question. It takes place in a Discord server in which there are me and online friends of mine who share an interest in tabletop role-playing games and gaming. Sometime before COVID, some of us were playing a campaign set in the Magic the Gathering universe. Throughout the playing, there was a guy who was being quite annoying and got a warning for it from the DM. Now, the Session 0 of the campaign was meant to be a test encounter in which we bring characters ready to be played. That same guy who already got a warning was filling out his character sheet on Roll20 while the DM was rolling the stats of some NPCs. The DM made public rolls an accident, and the guy made an obnoxious comment on the rolls, causing the DM to kick him out before the Session 0. Dang! What did the guy say? Like, oh, your dice sound like clattering tits. I don't know. Like, what would make you instantly kick someone out like this? I gotta know what your take on this is. TLDR, a guy got kicked from the campaign before Session 0 even began. Dang, I mean, I say you should handle annoyances before they become catastrophes, but this might be just a tad overzealous on the DM's part. I mean, how annoying was he? Because, like, from my point of view, I feel like he should have at least gotten the first encounter. Hi, I'm Petal, and I thought I'd share my experience here after reading all of yours. This might be a little long because it's got 2 horror stories in one. A while ago, my boyfriend, now an ex, invited me to a Dungeons & Dragons game with his friends. I only played once or twice, so I was excited. The time for the first session comes, and my boyfriend, the Dungeon Master, helped me make my character. I ended up with a variant human rogue named Ash. Pokemon! Got it! I'm kidding, I can't sing. And I've actually never watched Pokemon. This Ash was a bounty hunter supporting their family. My character was introduced as hunting the same target as the party. I get a sneak attack on the guy, and we trade blows, and I introduce myself to this party. Shortly after, we make a camp, then a wounded warrior walks up to the group. Being naive, I help him out, and was swiftly repaid by the NPC going berserk and attacking the fighter. After the fighter gets, well, murdered instantly, we then were told by the Dungeon Master that we were all going to die, and this is a TPK. We could fight back, but we would inevitably be slain? I was told there would be gory descriptions, but I got to the point where I was just muting the Discord call and staring back, just stunned. I didn't leave and ended up staying for about 6 more sessions after making a brand new character. This is where the horror should end, but the Dungeon Master made a new campaign. This is one he'd previously shelved for personal reasons. This took place 100 or so years after the campaign we were still in. I made a Kitsune cleric because the Dungeon Master was a little annoyed with me that we weren't using homebrew more. Huh, that's fun. That's how you get stuff like the one-hit kill katana, or the spell that wipes out everything in 700-mile radius. Or gun! Homebrew is fun, but it's not fun without experience. And it's certainly not fun when it's turned into a chore. I decide to make a lesbian in response. The campaign opens up with my boyfriend's male player character flirting with my lesbian character. Apparently he was offered a magic item, but I said I was still uncomfortable with that. I only told my boyfriend that, not the Dungeon Master, which I should have. But we continue, and I hear an NPC talk about the other campaign we were playing. Apparently 3 of the party members were described as legendary heroes, but there were 6 players. It turns out that in the campaign we, at the time, were still playing, me, my boyfriend, and the fighter's character deaths were pre-written into the story, and always going to happen. The DM tries to say that we could die early, and change the outcome, but I was still meant to die. Bro, what? Old friend, it's kind of scary, thinking back on everything we've done up until this point. But now, we've reached the end. Yes, it's the end of our adventure. I can't think of a choice more important than what I'm about to choose right now. It's time, old friend. It's time to choose. Well, I would like to... Hey, is this some kind of, is it a glitch? Or is this, like, as designed? Because I think there's something wrong here. What's the problem? There are 4 choices ahead of you. And now, you must choose. But they're all the same. I mean, they look fine to me. I mean, Sure, the time frame is different, but like, if I have a greater time frame, do I get to like try and prevent my death, or is it just, oh no, I mean, you're guaranteed to die every time, you know, I mean, that's a given. It has to be tragic, duh. What if I just, what the, how did it? So, sorry, you're locked to the 4 choices. Can't kill me, you know, that's not one of the 4 choices. I don't see that in there, you know. Yep, not in there. Yeah, I think I'll just die right now. I ended up staying for a few sessions after until the DM just got kind of racist to the Discord call. He said the N-word like 13 times. He's white, and I know that because we use a video call for DMing some things. He was always shirtless too for some reason. Bro, that's the real crime. Not the agency thing, not the racism. Unsolicited man tits is crazy. I left that and cut contact with the group, except my boyfriend, who still hangs out with them to this day. After we broke up, though, I cut contact with him, too. Moral of the story, always mention if something's making you uncomfortable, and don't be afraid to leave if they don't respect that. Yeah, you were in an unfortunate situation. Playing with your partner always makes things kind of awkward, but you're right, sticking in this campaign was a bad idea. I mean, the first big problem is player agency. We've seen this as a theme in so many stories, but something else that this DM does super wrong is pulling back the curtain way too much. Straight up telling your players, hey look, you're doomed to die, is really stupid. But for me, it's not just the lack of player agency, it's exposing the internal workings of your game. Look, there are things you should keep hidden from your players. Like, if you fudged big time during a boss fight, don't tell your players that. Don't tell your players that you let them live or that you wanted them to die here. The game exists in a fragile magic circle, and doing things like that breaks the circle and breaks the immersion. It's okay to pull back the curtain sometimes, but don't do it too much. I've been running a D&D campaign for a small group of players, my significant other, Paladin, and a couple other players, Wizard and Warlock. For the past few years, we've had weekly sessions at my apartment with my significant other and our cat. We like to host for our players, and I love having ambient sounds and music playing so that our immersion is that much better. Ah, a fellow person of culture. I like that. I even look for sound effects to queue up when certain events happen, like a creature roaring or the sound of metal on metal. Sometimes I make my own sounds, but I'm no Matt Mercer. Dude, I like this DM! The DM like me! Oh wait, this is a horror story. That's not good, that's not good, that's not good. The campaign is a grim, dark one, and the players are knee-deep in a mystery as to why a plague has broken out and spread through an entire archipelago. A plague that eventually turns the townsfolk into beast-like undead monstrosities. At this particular session, the players were traveling through a town in order to get to the docks to obtain a ship as they were attempting to sail to an island that had been hollowed out into a massive underground prison. We were on the way to a prison heist. On the way to the pier, the group ran into the militia, whom were showing signs of the plague. I had everyone roll a stealth check to see if they could sneak by. Our paladin, in full plate armor and a -1 to our stealth, managed to roll the highest. With an 8.
I'm sure we can find a quiet way in. Or you could do that.
Needless to say, they failed the group stealth check. Our wizard got upset because she was invisible, at which I reminded them that being invisible does not give advantage on stealth check. Wait, it doesn't? Okay, yeah, it doesn't say it does, but I feel like it should. You're invisible! I went ahead and just gave her advantage, though. She went dead silent after she rolled, which is her sign that she rolled a natural 1. Cue the battle music. The fight was going well, and it was intense. The players were invested as they were not only strategizing, but also trying to get as much lore and information from the fight as possible. However, the militiamen were on a timer, and after a few rounds had passed, they began to transform into the aforementioned undead beasts. It was the players' first experience seeing the transformation firsthand, as this was a big deal, and answered some questions that they had. As I was swapping out the figures from the militia for the beast figures, narrating the transformation process, there was a rather uncomfortable squelching noise. Nice ambience, our warlock mentioned. I paused and looked at them. Thanks? I didn't have any noises prepared like that, and I mean, I double-checked my laptop and there weren't any tabs or sound files open for that particular noise, but what there was the cat under the table, who had just thrown up. as you guys look upon mutated and poisoned individuals begin to morph. Oh, that's my cue. I sat there, looking down at the mess. The cat, with the most innocent eyes, looked up at me as if to say, "Dad, I threw up." She's fine, by the way, and was running amok shortly after, but cleaning up something like that always makes me want to throw up. I had to calmly pause the encounter, clean it up. Luckily, my players thought it was funny, because it was funny, and are now saying the cat is my co-DM. The cat is kind of the star of the sessions. She is always wanting pets from the players, and if I stand up from my seat for any reason, she'll up and steal. Didn't realize I had Tabaxi Rogue on my hands. It happens so much that we joke that she's the DM, and I get to take a break. As you guys know, I've been hanging out with Fall Cosplay, who plays Nixie in One for All, and yeah, in that show, behind the scenes, the cat is the real star. And pets are a blessing. Sometimes, though, pets get sick, and when they're sick, it's important to handle that. Things like that can get out of hand really quickly, and I'm glad you paused the game to take care of your pet. It sucks when D&D gets interrupted, but for stuff like this, it's a dang good reason to pause, take a break, and accomplish some tasks that need accomplishing. In this case, taking care of your cat. This is one of those mild nuance horror stories. We've been seeing a lot of these this video. Luck can't last forever. Hi Crispy, I've been watching your content for a while and decided I should put in one of my own stories. This story involved a few main people, me as the Dwarven Cleric, my friend as the Wizard, and the Dungeon Master. There were 2 other people, but they don't come up much in the story. So this happened not too long ago when I was invited by a wizard to join one-shot run by his friend, the Dungeon Master, who I didn't know, but hey, why not? I was told to roll up a level 1 character, and made a character. When I arrived, everyone is already there, and the whole room seems to be decorated for D&D, which I thought was pretty cool. So the session starts, and the DM starts out with the usual, you start in the tavern thing. It was decent at first, but nothing really got started. Except the second we stepped through, we're assaulted by a small group of undead immediately. Due to me being a cleric, it was a rather easy fight, but the whole time I noticed both the players I didn't know had no clue how to play D&D, and they were just being told to roll dice by the Dungeon Master. Not only that, but by peeking at one of their screens, they were using computers, I learned not only had the DM made full character sheets for them, but he also had made them on Google Docs? I mean, it's unconventional, but like, it could work. I mean, the formatting might be a mess. And it does just feel like shooting yourself in the foot. Look, the clones always draw straws. It's fair. Ow! Oh, God! Why couldn't we use a fake bullet? Because it's funnier this way. But it could work. I had just assumed they were doing D&D Beyond or something, but no, the Dungeon Master had just made sheets on Google Docs. For a decent bit of the session, nothing to note happened, except for this random old man with a map appearing to escort us out of town. As we were leaving the town, the Dungeon Master decided it was time for a random encounter. I visibly saw him just flip through the monster manual and said, "This one looks cool," and that's where we encountered a CR-18 Death Knight. Bro's just strolling around level 1 and then Lich King! Rah! Yeah, we're level 1. I decided to try to roleplay our way out of the battle, which accidentally ended with the joke that my character got adopted by a Death Knight, and this was my brother, or his brother? Weird, I know. Eventually, once realizing that this thing would kill us in one blow, the DM had the old man step in, and apparently the old man is a retired adventurer who just one-shotted the Death Knight. How did he do that? Did he just...
What the fuck?
Eventually, the DM gave us a plot hook about the old man wanting our help. The DM essentially just proceeded to tell us the entire premise around Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. At this point, the 2 other players had already left, with just me and the wizard remaining. As I was about to leave, the DM revealed that he was actually planning on turning the one-shot into a full campaign, and needless to say, I just decided to dip. TLDR, I got invited to a one-shot that was run so badly, it almost became a full campaign. Dude, you got out while you could, and that right there is a smart move. Look, there are so many problems here, but I think it can be boiled down to this person is clearly a new DM who has no idea what they're doing. And yeah, we have all been there. This isn't really a horror story, it's just a story that I think we've all experienced. I got lucky, as my newbie first-time DMing experience, the one where I had zero experience with actually running a game, the one where I just loosely did everything and didn't even have a session 0, that got canceled. And by the time I ran my first campaign, I was a bit more knowledgeable. But not everyone is that lucky. We may have been slightly better or slightly worse, but we've all been here. I just hope the DM could one day realize that they could always choose to be better. Hi Crispy, been watching you for over a year now, really love your skits too, but finally decided to share some of my own horror stories I've encountered over my 30 odd years of playing tabletop role-playing games, all of which are really tame compared to many of the ones you read, which is why I was hesitant to send any in. And yes, this one really is tame. I'm putting my trust in you. Crispy will remember this. Now, I'm normally the game master 95% of the time, so when a friend of mine offered to run a D&D 5th edition game, I thought I could take a nice break for a bit and try out some cool character ideas my players in this group hadn't done yet. I decided to make an illusionist wizard, level 5, arcane trickster rogue, level 3. We started at level 8. Unfortunately, this friend of mine turned out to be a problematic dungeon master. I'm just going to be very basically glossing over the fact he banned teleportation after we built our characters in session 0. Teleportation is awesome! Alright, put your theories down below. What happened to this guy? Did he get blink shotgunned in Destiny? Did he get Wraith kidnapped in Apex Legends? Did something actually happen in the actual D&D game? Because honestly, teleportation has never been a problem in my games. I'm out of ideas, man. Because of this, our Way of the Shadows monk had to make a new character, and I picked a different feat to not have Misty Step anymore. And he also had a DMPC that kept showing up places where we were and handling things and making himself the champion with us as the sidekicks. The worst thing he did was when we were breaking into a compound where an operation was being done illegally hunting owlbears and exporting them for a blood fighting ring. We were tasked with capturing the leader of this operation. My character, being the stealthiest, snuck in through a window at the top of the barn and climbed up into the rafters while invisible, found a good spot in crossbeams, and then dropped invisibility to message the others about how many hunters there were and so on. Since the others weren't nearly as stealthy, their plan was just to bust open the front doors of the barn and start attacking. On my signal, they bust in, and we go into initiative. I'm shooting arrows from the rafters, while the rest of the party slaughter hunters while trying to get to the leader, until one of the hunters pulls a lever to release the owlbears into the fray. At first, we thought the owlbears would be a third party, attacking whoever was closest, but they were only attacking us. Hey, I was just thinking, we could either fight the guys who held us captive for years and tortured us and used us for blood fighting, or we could fight the guys who are fighting them. Let's kill only the people trying to save us. That seems fair and reasonable. To try and distract the leader, who was running out a side door, I cast Major Image to make it look like an owlbear was coming out from the pens and running towards the door the hunter leader was heading towards. And seeing an enraged owlbear moving there would probably give the man pause so someone else could capture him. Nope. The DM looks at me and says, "Did you conjure that? Or is it an illusion?" And I respond with, "It's an illusion." Oh. He pauses for a long time, then says, "Well, I know it's an illusion." So the hunter leader isn't fooled by it. Which, yeah, that's not how an illusion works. I don't do illusions. The leader's just gonna run through it and open the door. Damn, this hunter leader really did get blessed with divine insight to beat, like, Gus from the Owl House. I'm realizing now I don't know many illusionists. I didn't really want to argue about it then, so I let it and the boss go. And guess what? The DMPC is on the other side of the door, waiting to knock the leader out. The next session, the DMPC also found out from interrogating the hunter leader, before our characters get back to our base of operations, he beat us there by a day somehow, that the hunters were being funded by a wealthy noble who was using slaves to dig out a gold mine. And so our job was to go there and free them. We travel to the mine and arrive at night. We spot the mine entrance up a ramp with a mining truck going through the middle of it. Again, as I'm the stealthiest, I was tasked with climbing up the wall under the ramp to get to the mine entrance, while the others tried to take out the guards along the ramp as quietly as they could. Once I reached the top, I tried to convince the slaves to join us, as we were the ones busting them out, and they declined and said they would only do it if it was clear we were winning. I looked down from the top of the ramp, where there was a mining cart full of ore the slaves were filling, and saw the guards finally spot the party, so initiative was rolled, and I was first. I tried at first to push the obvious mining cart down the ramp so it would knock a whole bunch of guards down, but even with a 23 on my athletics roll, after using a hero point, which, what exactly is that? Oh, it's inspiration. Okay, cool. I call inspiration fortune so it doesn't get mixed up with the bardic thing. Pathfinder must do that too. Cool. Yeah, after using my hero point, I was unable to push it down in one turn. So in turn 2, I created a major image of the cart superimposed over the real one. And in turn 3, I could use my action to have the fake cart roll down the ramp. I was hoping that some of the guards would step aside and fall prone, or at least the guards standing in a row facing the rest of the party would move slightly in response so the other guys could flank them. I start turn 3 with the illusionary cart rolling down the path, and not a single NPC reacts to it. The fighter that spoke up last time said, "Why aren't they reacting to a heavy minecart barreling down the ramp at them?" And the DM says it's an illusion. I know it's an illusion, and they're not going to react to it. It isn't real. The fighter tells them that they don't know that, and the GM says that I do. So they do. The fighter and I exchanged glances, and I just shook my head, and he knew to just drop it. Turn 4 starts, and I'm trying to push the minecart down the ramp one last time. You know, at this point, man, have you ever heard
The definition of insanity. Yes.
Okay, I'm trying to push down this minecart. Again. Down the ramp. One last time. And I noticed something. All the NPCs have gone off the track in the middle. So even if I succeeded, I'd only hurt my party. So I just gave up and shot an arrow at a guard and ended my turn. Throughout the rest of the round, most of the NPCs all got back on the track. And before the round ended, the DMPC showed up, shoved the minecart off the ramp, hitting most of them, and yelled, "For freedom!" And the slaves immediately went into revolt mode and started fighting off the guards, ending the session. I had to work night shifts for the next 2 weeks, so I missed the sessions. And after that, when I was about to come back, the DM messaged me and said, "Well, the adventure is over, so if you got stuff to run, you're back behind the screen." I never asked anyone in the group about the rest of the adventure for years until a few months ago. I asked Fighter what happened in the 2 sessions that I couldn't make, and he said that only he and the DM showed up for the last 2 sessions due to scheduling conflicts from everyone else. Man, I haven't played D&D in years. I'm sure I can schedule a session this week. Hey, yeah, can't play this week. You know, my 5th grandma died. Yeah, just thanks for your condolences. It really shook up the family hard. Yeah.
What did you say?
Nothing shook, Grandma. Ugh, damn you. You're no better than me, at long last. My quest for revenge is complete. You will never hurt any of my family. Can you give me a second? You can take that. It's all good. Just gonna like. Hey. Yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry. Can't come to the D&D game. You know, I'm still on my crazy quest for revenge. You know, it's like an ongoing thing. Not even close to done yet. Yeah, bye! Oh, so you want the quest for revenge to continue? Because, like, I can totally just, like, run away. Okay. I'm sure they all want to play. Secretly. Deep. Down. So they just played some board games in the game store. Well, the issue was annoying. The guy who DM'd is a good friend of ours, and it was his first time DMing, so we really let things slide. He was a good player, and as a DM, he had good story ideas, and his hand-drawn maps were amazing, so he wasn't all bad. And he did much better second time, but none of us ever played Illusionists with him again. The problem here is twofold. First, whack game balance. Look, when I talk about ChatGPT D&D game balance, this is what I'm talking about. Usually, I'm talking about DMs who buff their players way too much. Here, it's nerfs. Banning all illusions. Banning all teleportation. It's not necessary. With the exception of some really specific, hyper-powerful builds, most DMs can handle most things in the game. Illusions aren't going to crack things in half. Besides that though, let's not ignore the DMPC. Usually I just kind of like assume you guys know these are bad, but with 10th Tomb, you guys have probably noticed that in my latest actual play, I have an NPC who's very relevant to the story. However, the big difference is Yumi doesn't take up the main character slot. She is very important as the person the party are trying to save, but at the end of the day, she doesn't override the agency of the players. And that's what this DMPC does, especially since the DMPC does things that the party straight up try to do, just better. It sucks, guys. It just hurts. Hey, that's a wrap. If you guys enjoyed, then you may enjoy our Tabletop Tavern Tips series, where we give advice for DMs and players, old and new. Our latest episode was on Laudna turning into a toxic player character, and how cool it is. It's linked in the cards. But before you go, please do leave a like on this episode if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to Crispy's Tavern so you don't miss any of our content. And finally, if you want to leave your own stories or thoughts, go down in the comments down below. If you can't think of a comment, leave the comment. Actually, not that bad, to let me know you made it to the end of the video. Hey, by the way, if you have your own horror stories, you can send them directly to us. There's an email down in the description down below. Send your stories our way for a chance to be featured in one of these videos. But hey, even if you don't have any stories, in essence, like, comment, subscribe. I will see you all next time. Farewell.